difficulties have been worked out. We're at the gallery and we're bringing into fruition the true elements of marriage and the essence of a man. But we can't really get that defined unless we have someone that has experience. And that's what we were talking before the break. We are here to bring on Rhonda's point of view, her experience as far as her interpretation or women's interpretation of what a man is or a husband is, as opposed to what a male is or what a partner is. You can't figure that out until you're married. You can't understand that true nature of that until you have that experience. And I don't have that experience, neither does Moody. So we want to get that experience in the eyes of Rhonda and share to us what your vantage point or your perspective is, your lens, as related to the essence of a marriage.
Okay. Well, for me now, it's very different than it was originally. I originally got married for the wrong reasons. I was like, my biological clock is ticking. I want to have kids. I want to, I want to be married. I want to have a family. I grew up with two parents, and I want to have that before I have children. So I basically got married out of fear. A fear that, I wouldn't be able to have kids because I'm too old, fear that I would be alone and stuff like that. So in choosing my husband, I was in a Christian context. I am a Christian, and I was very into, my relationship with Jesus and God. And because of that, I found a man in the church. Now, all I said was, God, I just want a God-fearing man that loves God and that loves me. And now, fast forward 15 years later, that was not enough to request, because there are things that a male can do. You could get married to just a male and he not have the man qualities that you would want in a husband. So just to say that my perspective has completely changed. While being married, I really learned that a man has a way to pick out and to show you those areas that you are not your best at. Like, my ex-husband had a knack for showing me areas that I needed to work on, The problem is it don't feel good. And a lot of times we don't want to hear that from a fallible man that makes mistakes. Because when somebody makes mistakes, you don't want to, who are you to tell me what to do? You got your own stuff, you know?
I think that's a good point that you make.
Yeah, it was for me, our relationship got a lot better once I started saying, you know what? He is this way, this is how he is. I'm not going to be able to change him. The only thing I can change is myself.
I got to ask you a question.
Yes.
So when you were making it, because we want to get you in the minds of the people, and we want to so asking, like, okay, when you approach the relationship, when you approach the marriage, we're talking about what was your vision. Okay, talk to us more about, okay, well, this is what I feel the essence of a man, because you mentioned God-fearing. So was it that he had to be religious or spiritual? Were you able to decipher the difference at that time between religion and spiritual?
No.
Because we start talking about essence here.
Yeah.
Essence go 100 ways. There's the essence of everything. There's the,
No, I think that's a good point. For me, when I was looking for a husband, it was not spiritual. It was, he needed to be a Christian. I would not date a man that was not a Christian. He needed to be in church. He needed to be.
Did that make him spiritual?
It doesn't. No.
No, that's real. People can be religious.
Yeah, you can be religious but not spiritual.
What
she's talking about is not spiritual. Because it's Christianity. I feel like they're not very spiritual.
We should be,
It would make sense, but they're religious. They're not spiritual.
Yeah, some can
technically,
be.
because religion and spirituality, especially seen by religious people, are like two different.
But that's why I wouldn't put it just on Christians.
But that's what she's saying. For her, what her experience and what her definition of what that man had to be.
Yeah, that I didn't clarify enough. I just said he needed to be a Christian.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that just meant somebody in church. You know what I'm saying? Because how do we know if they're a Christian or not? You know what I'm saying? If they're just in church, you got to be around them more and see their character and see how they treat people.
So can we bridge this back to what we were talking about on the first break, as far as esoterically, what's the essence of a man esoterically? The essence of a man esoterically would probably be the ability to understand their spiritual nature.
Absolutely.
To have a certain level or a certain capacity of a spiritual nature, to become loving. Because what Moody asked about earlier was, what's your happy? Well, your happy is touching into your true spiritual nature.
Well, that wasn't technically my question.
No, that was one of the questions.
That was not my question.
What was the question?
I just didn't know what you using a whole theory that I just didn't understand.
Okay,
I know what happy is.
Okay, what was the question in context how I used it? Because you did ask a question.
Yeah, I think that my question, because when I think happiness. I didn't think happy like that word. It just was confusing.
Right. So my point is that when I said happy before, you said that's like know thyself, is what the response that you said. You was like, that would be similar to know thyself.
Well, aspects of what you were saying while you were explaining that was knowing yourself and knowing what you're happy
That's what
with.
I just said. That's what I'm just trying to push through and at least get to some defining agreement on your perspective. You know, like what's defined. I don't want to get out of place and be too loosey-goosey with me not describing things right, but I guess we asking you to express because I don't want to guess, but you did make a good point, and I don't want to guess about your point. You know, we were talking about happy, and you were making a point about happy, and the point that I was making is that happy, it connects to your spirituality. Being in touch with your spirituality is your happy, because if not in touch with your spirituality, then you don't have no patience for nobody. You selfish. You don't give a fuck about nobody. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's a lack of a good spirit. Your negative spirit. So happy has everything to do with being in touch with your spirituality.
Yeah.
So when she was saying, when we're talking about religions, religion doesn't require you to have a great spirit.
Right. You could be religious and be nasty.
You could be religious and be a tyrant.
As we've seen.
You know what I'm saying? So I guess what I was trying to explore with what you were talking about related to men is that when women make choices, or when men feel like they represent something, most men feel like they're representing a force of being a man based on their tangible attributes.
Like what they have, their money, or what they can provide.
I think that's what Rhonda was saying before we went to our break. She was talking about how the modern marriage is consisted of material and things, like material and
what somebody can do for you.
Yeah, what you can get out of it, which is what you were saying too. So we did talk about that. We did talk about the difference in the contrast and what marriage is. Like a traditional versus conventional versus modern.
I mean, I'm getting a little mixed up now, because I think in general, even on traditional and modern, there's a sense of providing. Like you said, the bag, the bread, and the bread. That was the point that you. That's not. See, now that's what I was trying to say before we even cut to our break. Like, the reason why I brought up a traditional woman and because you were asking me on break, you were like, well, why do I feel like you kind of were getting off track? The point of me bringing that up is because it's what you're talking about. The modern person is not looking for that shit. The modern person, the modern woman, is not looking to get married. So I was first starting with that point. And then based off of that point, because the question was, what are women looking for in marriage? Now I can express my point, because I had to express that that's not even what's happening. Like, that's my perspective. That's not even what's happening, and I feel like that's kind of what we're getting to. We're getting to what the true meaning of that traditional term is, and how that is defining our women today, our unity today, and how we view unity, and how we view relationships. So I just wanted to chime in and sit and talk about the modern person. I'm going to keep repeating it. The modern person, in my opinion, as a young woman, is that they're not looking to get married at all. Like, that's not something.
I see that from people in your
generation.
And
that's where the relationships that want the tangibles, that want material items, that want, what can you do for me? Because I could do this for you, but this is what I could do, and I'm not going to make no long list, and I'm not going to give you what I'm not going to do. This is just what I'm going to do. You know, so it is a very selfish way that people are trying to join together in marriage, which in my idea goes back to, well, that is not really marriage. Now, as a traditional older person, that's how I feel. So I just wanted to express that because we were like, well, the modern person, I'm telling you, it's just, that's not what they're looking for.
Okay, now, I understand that. I guess the reason why there was an interjection last time is because now there are modern women that get married, and that's the part what brings us back to this whole topic is that, okay, we discussed how most don't, or some don't, or the young group don't, but there are modern women that's getting married. That's why we have 70% almost divorce rate.
Yes.
So you could say that they're not looking to get married, but my point is they're getting married.
So we're talking of specifically about the ones that are getting married.
We're talking about marriage, because so we're talking about marriage.
I understand.
And then when we brought in modern, I was trying to interject because modern women get married. You know what I'm saying? We're not, you came to the point that most people your age or modern women nowadays aren't looking. That's fine. It's not whether there's, we don't know the percentage of that. We just know that people are getting married and getting divorced. You know what I'm saying? So based on the divorce rate is how we're equating everything. We're basing on the divorce rate, which affects the men in the home. That's why we connected this episode to Boy Crisis, because we're connecting the reality that people are finding on what, like you said, you're chasing. You're a modern woman chasing marriage, but you don't want the essence of a man. And to me, that's what I was trying to conclude with what you were saying before. It's like you were saying, hey, the modern woman chasing to get married. I mean, the modern woman that wants to get married, not chasing to get married, but the modern woman that's looking to get married, because I would consider for the Kim Kardashians, and these women got married. You know what I'm saying? And no matter what people thought in our society, and these are women that led the charge on modernism. Amber Rose got married a couple times. So it's like, I hear you, but the modern woman is out there getting married. You know what I'm saying? Just like the woman that says she don't need no man is out there getting pregnant by men. So these are things that are, you know what I'm saying? So I'm incorporating your point, but I'm saying despite thereof, the modern women are getting married. So now we kind of, that's why we kind of, why we kind of reflected back to what you were saying, Aron, is that, okay, were you a modern woman looking to get married? I guess was what we're trying to find out. Like,
yeah,
did you think you was a traditional woman and found out you was a modern woman?
I thought I was a traditional woman, and I did find out I had a lot of modern tendencies.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. Like you're in the culture.
I think that's the issue.
Absolutely, I agree. That's the issue.
I think everybody's holding a position that they really can't claim.
Fulfill.
They can't fulfill.
That's not really who they are.
When you start talking about modern and traditional women, like Kevin Samuels was saying, shout out to Kevin Samuels, and I do these not for clout chasing, but we all research and investigate Kevin Samuels and his points.
Absolutely.
And Kevin Samuels, one of his main points that he was saying was that the traditional woman takes it on the chin.
Absolutely.
The modern woman ain't taking nothing on the chin. The modern woman is not. She talks back. She's gonna have her attitude. She's gonna express herself on another level. The traditional woman tend to don't do that. That's what puts her into a traditional position.
Right.
Of not getting divorced. Or,
Yeah.
So, like so when we start talking about, okay, well, is our choice on who we pick defines who we are.
I think,
like a relationship.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
think who we pick
is defining on who you are.
Who you are at that moment. Absolutely. I think it's reflective of who you are at that moment.
Yeah, I think it's reflective.
Absolutely, it has to be, because you wouldn't accept certain things if you were at a different level. You know what I'm saying? Or if you are at a different place. For example, I'm gonna use myself as an example. When I, got married, I just was looking at, is this person a Christian? You know what I'm saying? And that was it. That wasn't, that was just like, it wasn't really digging into their character or their integrity or this and that. And not saying anything negative about my ex-husband. You know what I'm saying? He's a good guy, but I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't know what a man was or what a man should be in the context of marriage.
I think tradition is also, because we're throwing the word modern and tradition around. And I'm saying, what is tradition now? What is modern now?
What is traditional, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to follow. You said, and Moody mentioned it, and I've been hearing it a lot of the modern day man and the modern day woman, and I want to know, like, okay, what's a traditional man? Is a traditional, what's considered a traditional husband?
I would say a
traditional
traditional husband
husband.
is a provider, male, that who protects, who governs, guards, and guides his family. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying a dictator.
So are women
But-
looking for traditional?
No.
Okay, so what is the modern woman looking for out of marriage?
I think that goes back to my point of what the modern woman is. And the modern woman is, in my opinion, a person who can do bad all by herself, who can get a check, who can, be a sex worker or not, or whatever, and still be considered acceptable, I guess.
Like
And
do whatever they need to do.
Yeah, and I think a modern woman is someone who's taking the opportunities that the future has now with sex work, with being an independent woman, being a single, I don't need a man, being someone who is free, sexually liberated,
A boss.
and someone who does whatever they want. What's the term? Living their best life. That's the modern person. I wouldn't even say that it's technically either male or female. I would say that living my best life goes into what the modern person is. And I
Yeah.
think as far as women go, what they're looking for as a modern woman, and what my definition I just explained is what can support me and my goals, but what is something that I can have that I don't necessarily have to share. Because we said marriage is sharing, it's compromising, it's a union. So like how we were talking about earlier, the new term is really to just be yourselves together and not necessarily
Like be two individuals.
together. Not necessarily compromise, not necessarily, so I think it's
Not
that
really-
freedom within a marriage. And then if we define marriage traditionally and by the technical term, that's technically not what it means. So at least that's from my perspective.
You're saying like now today the modern
Person, woman.
perspective of
Yeah.
it is two individuals just coming together and
Yeah,
being
like
two
how you said,
individuals
the
and
power
not
couple,
union.
that was a really great
Yeah.
term that you used, because that is definitely something that, at least in my generation, is not only trendy, but it's something that people strive for. I've heard people my age say, I want to be this, and tell me about how their person approached them and said, I want to be a power couple with you, babe. Like that is something that is the ideal
Like their
union.
goals.
I wouldn't necessarily call it marriage, but goals is a great word, because everything to us is goals. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where my opinion is on that.
I think that ultimately the misconception on what it takes to succeed in a marriage is the one thing that's fueling the nature that's the one thing that's motivating or stimulating this pursuant. Because the reality is, no matter what anybody says, with modern or non-modern, or traditional or non-traditional, everybody's still in the hunt. Like I said earlier, you got women talking about they don't need no man, but getting pregnant by men. You have men out here that don't even want to pay all the bills. That doesn't even want, they want to go half on everything, and if she don't want to go half on everything,
It's over.
he's wondering what she's worth.
It's a problem.
It's a problem. I think that what's happening is at the end of the gate, at the end of the road, I don't think anyone wants the accountability. I think everybody from this conversation in this episode today, I think everybody wants all the benefits of
and
marriage.
nobody
They
wants
want
the-
all the benefits of their title, not even the marriage or whatever position, whether I'm modern or whether I'm traditional. Everybody wants the benefits of these things. But when it comes to like what you're gonna give up for them,
Yeah, they don't want to give up
it,
nothing.
it seems to be fleeting. I believe when we were talking before going into the break, I explained about the Discovery Channel thing, and I want you guys to hear this really quick. What happened was, it was a part of Africa that they were doing research on, and there were baby elephants. They had brought in these pregnant elephants, and they had these baby elephants on the island. They wanted to put more elephants on the island, and it's not an island, but it was a part of Africa, a plains area. there were rhinoceroses, they were there, and there were the female elephants and the baby bull elephants. Well, what happened is within I think it was like a year period, they started finding out the rhinoceroses were getting killed, getting tumbled over, because the little bull baby elephants was bumping into the rhinoceros and knocking them on the side and stumping them. And they also began to start raping their sisters and killing their mothers. This is what the baby elephants started doing. So as the scientists studied it, they found out, well, there were no male elephants in their presence.
Wow.
So without the presence of the male elephants, the actual bull baby elephants started raping their sister and killing their mother.
Can I ask a question? Are you finished? I want you to finish it.
No, we're talking. It's a discussion.
My question is, now without having a male role model or a false idea of what a male role model is and what a man is supposed to be, how can someone go about finding that essence? Or not, I want to say find the essence, but releasing the essence, because it's already inside of them. But how would you like?
You gotta find it to release it. You have to find it to release it, and that's where we get back to that happy part. So continuing on with the part about the elephant, this is what the solution is. The solution was understanding that in every part of nature, the male has to play a role for that species to succeed appropriately. Everywhere there's a plant, whether it's a fish, the male has to be present for that species to go on and go forward. Because there's things that male provides for that species. So what they found out is when they flew in they flew in a male elephant. As soon as the male elephant came off of the plane, it smacked one of the baby elephants with its horn, and all the baby elephants trotted and ran back in place. It just took the primary male elephant, the dominant male, to come off the plane, and it just immediately started smacking the baby elephant.
Wow, that's powerful though.
Yeah, and once that happened, all the tyranny that they were causing in that area stopped. Because the presence of a man was on there, and they saw so part of the essence of a man is discipline,
absolutely,
structure, consequences that they implement.
Yes.
And when women start, in my opinion, this is my point of view, when women start claiming traditional values, it's like, do you want to get disciplined?
Right.
Do you want to get?
Now that's something that I wanted to bring up, that as a traditional, because like I find myself to be traditional. Like I will cook and clean and do all those things that people just think are the end of what a traditional woman is, you know what I'm saying? When really it's much more defined.
But I was talking about what a man is looking for.
Right. Now, as a woman, I get, what's the word? Not discriminated, that's not the word. But I get basically looked down upon, because I understand that the essence of a man is to guide and be dominant, and that's what I want, and that's what I want as far as marriage goes and union. And it's something that I get looked down upon consistently. So I just wanted to bring that up because it's like this misconception.
Well, someone's going to get looked down upon if they can't take what that traditional
well, this is people that don't know what traditional is, and that are like, oh, that's what you want. You want to be dominated. It's like that's not.
No. I'm not. No. I'm right there with you. The point is that, again, my point that I was saying, people can say it, meaning that you can say it. Anybody can say they're traditional. Okay, now what can a person show that they were traditional? You understand? Cooking and cleaning does not, to me, like I said.
That's what I just said. Yeah.
No, I said no. Cooking and cleaning for a man does not necessarily mean traditional when it comes to marriage.
What does traditional mean to a man?
That's what I was trying to explain. I was explaining that in the very beginning, that men have a understanding what traditional is the ability to collaborate, the ability to cooperate with a man. See, because
cooperation.
To be corrected, to be guided, to be led. Most women like you, most people nowadays aren't into being led, directed.
That's why they look down upon it. That's what my whole point was.
That's true.
No. What I'm saying is you made a statement about the point. You never told nobody, oh, this is how I got. I'm not saying you never told anyone. But as far as describing your point of view right now, you didn't have enough description to explain to someone how you would be traditional. So that's what. No, I said right now with this conversation. So what happens? People tend to have a point of view like you have, but there's nothing to back it up. You know what I'm saying? So as men, we've seen too many women come along and say, I'm traditional. Then when you start getting in a relationship with them, you find out you're really not traditional. Like Kevin Samuel said, a lot of women are putting on a mask and playing the, oh, I'm not a modern woman. And that's when I was checking out his, like I said, again, shout out to Kevin Samuels. We're not clout chasing. We have our own sociological points of views and everything on topics and things, and we're very proud of that. But I do like to take his points because they're general points. He doesn't own these points. And one of the points that he was making, and that's the thing that I learned, and that's why I wanted to investigate this topic, is that most women don't even, for one, they don't even understand what the essence of a man is.
Right.
So it makes it hard for them to be a traditional woman to a man. So
Right,
when
because
you
they
start,
don't even
they
understand
don't understand
what
the
a
essence of a
man
man
is.
is. So if
Yeah,
we're talking about
I
not really having
understand
80% of the man out in the home, you got to first start talking about what the essence of a man. So what I started learning is that, okay, well, women know what to say. They know what the right things to agree on. They know the right things that men want to hear, but what men want to hear the most, and I'm the guy that's coming with a male point of view, men want to hear a woman say, tell me or give me some direction, or even show that he can discuss something with her, he can tell her something, or direct her, she's going to cooperate with what he wants. What we're getting now is that everybody really feel like they got their own way. Like you said, I'm over here, like you said, our group, like you mentioned, our group now is I'm here, they there, and we bringing it like this and seeing two single individuals.
Yeah.
You know, now when you start talking about traditional, again, in order to be traditional, we got to find out, well, what are the roles? He's the leader. Well, women right now aren't working around putting themselves in a permission position, or even showed that they had got led by a man.
Yeah, it's true.
So I hear there are traditional characteristics.
Yeah.
I think there are characteristics that women have of traditional things, but it's start claiming the traditional woman. I don't even know if the traditional woman is around.
So that's going to be part of the what's happening.
Because I don't even know if the traditional woman is really around.
I'm traditional, but I don't have traditional value. That's what it is. Because what you're talking about is in my.
No. You said traditional value.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Have a value in it.
Well, you have to finish. Let me finish what I'm saying first.
Okay.
So you're in a nutshell, and don't take this literally because this may not resonate literally, but like hypothetically and like just for the sake of wording, I'm traditional, but I ain't got traditional values. Meaning, I think cooking and cleaning and being a good housewife is what traditionalism is. But when he come in the house and try to tell me to do something or dominate or guide, I'm not into that. That's what's.
You can call it dominate. Let you know where.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. That's what the whole point of.
And this segment is actually just about rapping. So just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll wrap it up.
Yeah,
That's
sorry, I just threw it off.
Yeah, let's just wrap it up.
Okay.
Yeah, you can cut it off, man.
Sorry about that.
Why did she say anything?
Yeah.
She didn't So back on Fibonacci Live, we had to wrap it up for a second, guys, because we had some very interesting points, and it was getting fragmented. We had to actually monitor our time. We like to try to stay within the realm. But before we close out on Fibonacci Live, we want to give a special thanks to, again, the staff: Jay, Terrence, Ruben, Z, Michelle, Kales, Aranda, who came on set, Lana, Moody, Wordsmith, the artists that are participate in the gallery, but we take it to the next galaxy. Lee, Prolific Lee, has her exhibit coming. We have the Valentine's Day event that's coming. We have a Black History Month event coming. We have the DoorDash and Lounge that the gallery has formatted now. So we're really excited. Thank you for you guys for listening to these really, really pungent points. And we'd like to take these points and kind of cross them over. I was just talking about the modern and traditional values of things. So subscribe, press the like button. This is Alchemist here with our special guest Aranda, and we're here with Moody. Shout out to Wordsmith, Lana, and we're gonna end this thing with the modern and the traditional views of what the hell capping. Moody, talk to us. What's capping?
What you were trying to say just now is that what's capping is how people today think that they're traditional when they don't really have traditional values. And I feel like that really relates to our topic today, because we were talking about what is marriage, and marriage is a traditional term that we went over. Then we were talking about how marriage is looked at today. We also talked about what the essence of a man was and how that comes into unity with marriage and women. And so one thing that we did go over is how traditionalism and modernism and what those two defining factors are for each term, and how what's capping today is people think that they're traditional and they're really not. Being a housewife and cooking and cleaning doesn't make you a traditional woman. It doesn't give you the values of what traditional means and what it entails as far as pertaining to marriage, unity, and men and women's roles. So that's what's capping. I feel like a lot of people think that they're traditional because they take these surface value things from what the real term entails, and just like to encapsulate that into being what they strive to be but aren't, because of their either modern day values, because they're not willing to compromise. I feel like traditionalism comes with a lot of compromise and understanding. Yeah, so that's what's capping. Do you guys have anything to say about what that is or what that means?
No, we out of here, man. Fibonacci Live. Thank you for watching us at the gallery. Deuces.